Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode here on ESGNet, and this is Gamecenter here. Welcome back, and a new Gamecenter here. We always Gamecenter, of course, is about talking about what's going on in the world of sports gaming, and also not to mention just in sports in general also. So, of course, the big news since well, been talking about the buzz here in the last couple of days, and of course we're just about 2 weeks really away from the big day. Is Madden 28, or excuse me, Madden 18 is going to be in stores on the 25th of August, which is actually a Friday. It's kind of weird. But prior to that, if you have EA access on the Xbox One, you'll get a 3 days early, 3-day early release of the game. You get a tryout, pretty much all the modes, and then of course you can save those game saves, and then when you get the either download copy or the physical copy, you can continue playing with your character and your teams and MUT and all that kind of stuff. But they added some new features to the game. I'm not going to get into every single feature in here. I'm not going to break down every single thing because I'll be here forever to do that, and I really don't want to do that because I got so many other videos to do today. So I'll just go ahead and just kind of highlight some of these other things that I thought were really cool. One of the things is they have now a play live system. It's a interactive live system where you can play along with the real life NFL during the season and of course the playoffs, and where you can jump in at, let's say you want to start your series in the middle of the season. You want to wait for a lot of the rosters to, because there'll be roster changes throughout and whatnot. I try to usually wait after week 1, maybe even week 2. I think last year I had a late start, so I think I waited till week 2 for the rosters to be be released like that. Or let's say a guy that's a nobody, it becomes a somebody in the weeks. Each week he is better and better, and they redo his overall. You can wait for that and play whatever week. So let's say he does, the first 4 or 5 weeks he does really well, and his rating goes from 80 to 85. You can jump in then. So it's kind of cool. You can go at any time with up-to-date stats, rosters, and even commentary from the guys there from EA. You got Charles and I can't think of the other guy's name top of my head here. Charles and Brandon there, which I think they did a great job, and I got some news about them coming up about commentary this year here in just a bit. But just a simple way of how to do that type of stuff. Of course, you have the weekly training like they had last year, where you focused in on players doing drills with the team, and then you also could work on individual people that you was wanting to build up, guys from your practice squad, which I love. I love that this year from last year, because they added that in there. They're kind of building onto that this year. But you can set the manual to hit the practice field each week to train for your players, or you can do auto set where the CPU will handle this activity for you. So it's either you or the computer can do it and get points. Last year, I think for training, it was like you had the minimum was getting a bronze. Well, this year they stepped it up. They said that they're going to move up to silver. So if you don't want to do the training, the best you'll get is by simming, you'll get a silver. But the same thing like last year, if you got a gold, and let's say like for me, 1 week I set a game plan for the Browns, and then a couple weeks later when I played against the Browns, it had me do the same drills or the same similar drills that I maybe already did for another team and stuff, and they had it gold, so I just said, okay, sim it, and I'll just get the max, the automatic max. That still applies for this year's game also. So I think that's really cool. Trades and free agency, of course, that's always, you can set that as manual or on CPU. And they added some new features. They also added some reasonable trading, which we'll talk about here when it comes to future draft picks and the draft. and all that kind of stuff. Injuries are going to be a lot more serious this year. They're going to be a lot more realistic, and they have there's a couple of YouTubers already have talked about how the injuries are going to be like this year. And, they've kind of had their personal settings here. I've looked at it myself and seeing what it was all about, and I agree that there are some there's some pretty at least one thing I see on YouTube. There's some pretty realistic and tough injuries there, which, you know, a lot of teams have to deal with that kind of stuff. You got guys that are going to, you know, you got a star player that may be out for the whole season, and so you have to work around that. So I think that's really cool that they're going to do that, and they're going to put that in a way that you can, you know, you have to kind of game plan around that. So also too, preseason cut days. Of course, now players they cut down their rosters the week before the season. They don't do it used to be they had, you know, week 1 you got to cut this many people, week 2 you got to cut this many people, week 3, and so on and so forth until you got your 52 or 53 man roster down to the minimum there, which is 53. So yeah, now that's different. Now you have all 4 weeks to in the preseason to play, to test out players and see what you like, and then from there you start eliminating people that you don't want to have a part of your ball club. So I thought that was really cool that they added that, and they you know, gives you more time here to kind of work with a player that you maybe have that you seen that you feel that you have a strong feeling for, like, oh, okay, this guy can actually do something that's really, really important and really, really good, but you know, maybe it will take him some time here to do something about it. So I thought that was really cool there, that they went ahead and did that. And of course, that's what they do now in football now in the NFL. Contract negotiations are too. Again, you can use that either manual or CPU. They've actually had some pretty realistic, because I think in the last couple of years they've been kind of like numbers wise with players like, okay, I'm not getting you that kind of cash when, you know, numbers wise here, you don't, to me, you don't deserve that, you know, that kind of cash. So that's been kind of really been tinkered with and kind of tweaked here for this season. And then of course college scouting, which is one of my favorite things there to do. You can actually set up your draft board up the way you want it. So you can move the draft person up and down your board, who you believe is the most important to the least important, and rank them yourself. So that's pretty cool that they actually showed that and did all that. So we'll see how that goes. Now, talking about the franchise points here, again, you can customize your own draft board. As for the draft logic, now this is the thing a lot of YouTubers, and of course myself, have been saying this. In years past, you would see a team, and let's just say it was the the Texans or something. I'm just saying a team. I'm not pointing that they do this, but on the game or anything. But just it could be any team from any city. They would always draft maybe like 2 halfbacks back to back, or a quarterback, especially if there was a need. It's, at least to me, it seemed like it always happened. It seemed like it happened to me, and I think it happened to a couple other people. But they usually went after somebody like you, or a specific position that you're looking for. They would always take up all the those players and stuff like that when they really didn't need them, because they already had they had a half a dozen or more linebackers or halfbacks or quarterbacks or wherever the case may be. Well, this year they on Madden 18 they've actually helped it out with the CPU by CPU will make decisions based on the draft board. You can if you don't want to do the draft, the CPU will help you out by making decisions. Of course, making logical decisions for you to draft if drafting is becoming an issue, which a lot of people just can't handle it. They don't like it. Some people can handle it and they want to do it. But also too, when it comes to the CPU itself, with the other 31 teams, they're gonna make a better logic. So they won't draft unnecessary players they don't need to draft. So they won't, not necessarily they'll draft the same, that same those same kind of position players in the draft, but it won't be back to back. So you won't see them take a first round, a second round, linebacker in the first round, linebacker in the second round, or or 2 quarterbacks, back to back. In back-to-back rounds, you'll see them maybe drafting maybe in the first round, then maybe later on in the the 4th round or 5th round guy. It's going to be more logical. They're going to be more consistent. Same thing with their future draft picks. They're going to do that where they can make better decisions on draft picks like that and whatnot. One thing I wish, and I think a lot of YouTubers are kind of agreeing with on this, is wish they had a trade finder. I know MLB The Show has it, which they were the first ones to do it, and then NBA 2K, they started doing that. I'm hoping that the NFL, Madden, or I shouldn't say the NFL, but Madden, EA Sports will try to do that next year, because a lot of times it's tough trying to find those good draft picks and have those good if you need to make a trade or whatever, not draft, well, even draft picks with teams, because you never know, because they say they want this, but you look at it and like, okay, I can give you this, and it's like, oh no, I don't want that. It's like, I'm not gonna give you my my first and second and third kid just to get this pick, or get this guy. So there's some logical, it's like making some suggestions like, okay, if you want this player, we want this and whatever. So hopefully they'll work on something like that for next year or the years to come. For the announcers crew, there will be Brandon Gaudin and of course Charles Davis. A lot of people don't like listening to the commentary, but honestly, I think you guys are missing out. For the ones that don't do it, you guys are really missing out, because the 2 guys are really knowledgeable about the game. They have a really good rapport amongst each other. That the rebuttals and stuff like that from each other are really, really good. It's really entertaining what they have to say, and really knowledgeable about a lot of the players and a lot of the teams. And just fun listening. Now, I don't have that commentary in the game when I do my recording, stuff like that, because I usually take that stuff out. But when I'm actually playing the game, I actually don't mind hearing the commentary from these guys, and I'm kind of interested in seeing how that will fare this year, as we go ahead and get into the latter part of the latter part of the. Once we get into the game, or once we start the series like that, listen to their commentary like that. But I think this year, I'm going to start adding, not necessarily the commentary, but add like I may take out the commentary so everyone can hear the crowd and all that kind of stuff. Just kind of a filler and kind of a thing, or because I. Been trying to find some decent music put in my videos, so like this when I'm talking, like I am right now, as we like to call it in radio. When I was in radio, the music bed, a decent music bed, kind of softens the voice. Doesn't sound like you're in a chamber or empty, echoing room. But yeah, I may add that to it, and also too, there'll be up-to-date commentary about what's going on in the league. So if there's something, a big story going on about the league, within the league, like for instance, we've been hearing about Colin Kaepernick, that if there's something been mentioned about him, they'll mention it in the commentary. So I think it's really cool that they do up-to-date commentary. They do, I think, every week they go in the booth and just kind of commentate about what's been going on in the league and all that kind of stuff. So should be fun. Also, there's some other things here. I will leave a link down below in the description there to let you guys know about all that kind of stuff. But there's different, when it comes to progression, I will say that the older players won't change in their progression. If they're at a certain point, they'll probably stay there. Younger players I think will get an XP bonus about 25% more in the game this year than compared to last year. And of course, if you got guys that are going to Pro Bowls and winning awards like that, you'll get extra XP for all that kind of stuff. So I think that's pretty cool. And of course, you always have what your weekly goals are. So if you can do well in your weekly goals, you'll get more XP as you go along throughout the course of the season. And of course, what you did for to get those goals done and how you achieve them. So you'll get XP off for all that kind of stuff. If you have 90 speed, that 90 speed will never drop. It'll never drop below a 90. So of course, of your career, it'll stay, once you get to 90. I think they say the average age on the game where you start seeing progression is around 34, which is pretty true. Actually, they said 27, but I think it's wrong. I think it's probably, I would say probably around your first couple of years in your 30s, or I would say probably around about 32, 33. That's usually what happens for me, for a lot of players, especially like your guys that get hit the most, like your offense or your fullbacks, your halfbacks, all those type of guys. They get hit, they get brutally hit quite often there, and of course I can see why that is a problem, an issue. So they've kind of fixed that, and that's just not just wide receivers, but also halfbacks there. So if you got a 90, 90 or above, you're gonna be that way throughout the course of your career. And you can always advance up, but you can never go below 90. So I think that's kind of cool. As for retirements, they've said that there's been a lot of players that are getting close to the end of their careers, like Tom Brady. That they use this example in there. He won't retire after the first year. So just because he's 40 years old, and then of course he's going to be playing, he's going to be one of the oldest players in the NFL right now that play this season. Once you get into the next year, there's a good chance that he may come back. So, and that's just not him, but just any player that around that age or whatever. It won't necessarily mean they'll retire. They could play another year or stuff. So, but realistically, there's some of their stats in areas will be down because the older you get, the more regression that you'll have. So. And then preseason, I've already mentioned this, but one thing I think is really cool as we get closer here to the end of this video. Preseason, they say, quote, "Preseason is an exciting time for teams to make decisions about their 53-man roster. Teams use this time to evaluate the players and test new strategies in live competition instead of on the field practice, making the experience more authentic. Franchise has adjusted to these preseason rules." So just like the real preseason rules they did over the last last team the collective bargaining agreement and stuff like that. Teams will no longer require make cuts until the final week of the preseason. That's like which I already mentioned already. And then also too, the preseason games will feature more authentic play times for starters. Starters will play first quarter in the preseason, in the first week's preseason game, and of course the second week they'll play 2 quarters, and then third week they'll play 3, and then of course the final preseason week. They'll play 1 quarter because you got to see what your guys that are walk-ons or free agents that you sign or your rookies that you drafted or undrafted, see what they can do. So I like that. I like seeing that because here in the last couple of years they've kind of got away from that. They and like last year I was kind of upset. I'm like, okay, Ben's supposed to be playing at least to the first half or so, just getting in, because you gotta get used after you've been gone away for so long playing football. You gotta kind of get back in that groove again and whatnot. And they didn't do that too much last year, so I kind of had to, you mainly had to do that for yourself. I know myself and a couple others had to do that during that time, from last year's game. So, but I'm glad they changed that. So. But yeah, wrapping up regret. I told you guys about regression. I already told you about the 90 due to age. That won't go any lower than that. Relocation, new franchise. They say this is in this article here. New franchise content gives players the opportunity to use realistic relocation options. Added to the relocation, Las Vegas. So you could create the Las Vegas Raiders, when they make it there, you can create a stadium in that city. Also removed Los Angeles as a relocation option, but they've added San Diego. So San Diego is part of now the relocation option. So if you decide to have, which now are called the LA Chargers, now because they're leaving, they've left San Diego. Let's say 2 years, 3 years from now, you decide having a storyline that you wanted to relocate the Chargers back to San Diego. Somehow they decide to build a new stadium and all that kind of stuff. Well, you can do that now. So, or you can move a team that's already exists already and move them to San Diego. So, I think that's cool, and I'm sure, of course, they've always added other cities and stuff like that at once. They want a football team and all that kind of Mexico City, Toronto, London, all that kind of stuff. As they have been here in the last couple of years, which is always cool. So, but yeah, that is it with all the news there. And of course, there's so much other stuff on for the game this year. There's a lot of news on MUT. And of course, Long Shot. We had just a video about that here not too long ago. I'm really excited about playing that and have that as a short little storyline series here on the channel. Story created by EA themselves. So for the most part, yeah, it's been a lot of news going on here. And like I said, Madden 18 comes out on the 25th on Xbox One and the PS4. So definitely get a copy if you're a Madden fan. I know if you're watching this or listening to this here on the channel, you are definitely a sports fan. You're probably a Madden fan. So you probably got a good chance you're going to pick it up. So definitely don't miss out on it. It should be a great, it sounds like it's going to be a great game here this year. But yeah, that's it for me, you guys. Thank you guys so much. We'll have an announcement here pretty soon about who we're going to have as our road to, or not road to show. It's going to be franchise, in the franchise mode of this game. And we'll reveal that here very soon. So thank you guys so much again for watching and listening here today. Definitely check us out here on ESGNet for more Madden football content coming up here very, very soon here on the channel. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please leave a like. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not yet subscribed here to ESGNet. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. Links are down below in the description. Check us out there for the latest news and events on what's going on here on the channel and what's going on in the world of sports gaming. And also don't forget, there is a link to this article that I just mentioned, a link straight to EA Sports where you guys can read about the game and all the different modes. And also they break it down by position of what you some keys, some tricks and tips about how to build up players in different positions. So I thought that was really cool. I'm glad they added that. I know a lot of people have been asking me, and I kind of give people advice about different things where they should work on for their team, but it just depends on how you play. So but that is it for me, you guys. As always, keep yourselves healthy, and I will see you guys next time.